Tembeka. Welcome to our Spotlight series where we connect with Black women entrepreneurs to discuss topics that can often be roses or thorns for the community.
Mhm.
And today we are talking really about navigating financial literacy in a changing world. We've been very inspired. You participated in the Women of Diversity in the past.
Yes.
Uh, and so having women like you kind of coming and then sharing tips on like how to be financially ready for anything, for emergency, or just like also like don't not limiting ourselves because we're like budgeting that we don't enjoy a little bit of the
Yeah.
life. I think that is something that I was drawn to when I look at your content. It's like the balance. It's not really balancing, but it's like making choices,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us for this episode.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What do you do, etc.?
Yes. Whew, where do I start? So my newest title that I got is mom. So I just
Congratulations.
had, thank you. I just had a baby boy January 2024. So very much navigating mom life. I also recently got married as well. So
Ah, that's a
yes.
lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. We were traditionally married like
Hmm.
before, but then
Hmm.
when we bought our condo, which I guess is another title to no new homeowner,
Yes.
we took a break and then we had our white wedding. So anybody who's like Nigerian would be familiar with that term. We had the
Yes.
white wedding last summer too. So newlywed, new homeowner, and new mom. It's been very chaotic, but in the best way.
Yes.
And then we also throw in career too, because my 9 to 5 is that I work in financial services. So I've been doing that for over 10 years. I love working in the bank. There's tons of things to do and things to learn, and it's very applicable in your everyday life. So I think that's sort of what has shaped my own personal finance journey for myself, and also just sharing with others is like sort of the gems that I've picked up along the way, working with clients at the beginning of my career, and then now where I am now, I'm on the other side. So I'm corporate, I'm behind the products and services and strategy. And it's just very interesting to see it all sort of out of
Hmm.
next. So yeah.
Yeah, and especially during this climate, right? Like with
Hmm.
the finances and we don't know if we're in a recession or if we're not or if we are like and it's people are trying to manage the finances to the best capacity that they can with the rising costs and everything.
Yeah.
Um, let's kind of talk about like and that's something that you talked also that I noticed is that you often talk about setting financial boundaries
Yeah.
um, and especially, I feel like I'm going to say that a lot today, especially in this climate. What are some key boundaries you believe everyone, especially women, should establish to
Mhm.
protect their financial well-being? And like, do you think that those boundaries also evolve over time? Now that you can go from, let's say, married um, person to like being a mother and
Yeah.
then you still have some people that might ask you for certain things and you just like well now I have like people to take care of so
Yeah. There's three that really stand out that me going through so many life stages in a very short amount of time, they've sort of still remained. So the first one is getting comfortable with saying like that's not in my budget.
mm,
Like that is a huge one. We're all sort of going through it given like what's going on in the economy, but some are still thriving despite that. And I think like if you're not, it's okay. Like it's very easy for social media to make you think you're the only one, but you're
mm,
not, trust me. And I think like it's hard to say I don't have it in the budget right now when it's your friends or your family or even for your kid, there's so many times I just go to Walmart to pick up something for the house, and I see something for my son that I really wanna get him, but I'm like, "You know what? It's not in the budget." Like, it's
Mm.
just that's just what it is. So that's
Mhm.
number 1. Number 2 is treating savings and investing like a non-negotiable bill.
Mm.
So again, I've gone through the home purchase, we've gotten married, had a child, and I'll be the first to admit that through all of those transitions, savings wasn't as at the forefront as it usually
Mhm.
is for me. Um, and I fell off of it a little bit, but it's important for everybody to just try and tell themselves that savings is not just for you, it's for your family, it's for your future self. So really treat it like a bill, the same way you would pay rent, the same way you would pay for your phone bill. It's super important to not forget that.
Mm.
Just as important as a bill.
Mhm.
And then the third thing is don't um forget about like peace of mind. Like money is one of the biggest stressors. When I went on mat leave, that was a huge eye opener for me because I my income significantly dropped and a lot of
Yes.
people don't really talk about that. And for the first time in a very, very long time, money was a stressor for me.
Yeah.
It was stressful, and I could see how not having as much money as I'm used to was actually affecting my peace of mind. So, anything that has to do with disrupting that peace, like, it's not worth it. Just say
Mhm.
no, and just focus on ways that you can rebuild that savings, account that you had or, um, looking through your expenses and cutting things out that are stressing you out because
Yeah.
it's just not worth, compromising your peace of mind.
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
I want to just like piggyback on the maternity leave because
Mhm.
like to your point, it's something that we don't often talk about. It's like how the income
Yeah,
decreases depending on like the employer, how much they cover.
yeah,
And then you have the government support, but the government support also like kind of is not all there to balance maybe the all of the bills that we had prior to being pregnant and then bringing life into this world. So
yeah,
there is that added layer of stress that a lot of new parents actually often feel,
yeah.
and that's why some parents often choose to go back to work earlier
Early. Yep.
because they can't really afford to stay home with the new babies.
Yeah.
So I can definitely relate to that. It's always, and that's something that I wish there were more conversations about. It's like, okay, so and not to say like, oh, this is a reason not to have your child, but just to be
Mhm.
prepared that this
Exactly.
is what you will get yourself into.
Yeah.
Um, and then in terms of savings, for those who, money is tight,
Mhm.
like how do we go about, like sometimes we feel like is $10 for savings enough? Like how do you help someone who doesn't, what is the kind of advice that you will give to someone who doesn't have a lot, like barely just covering the
Mhm.
bills, and then at the end it's like I don't have enough according to my perception to
Mhm.
save. What is the kind of like what would you say to them?
Um, I mean, first, it's like a mindset thing, like I always stand by, and some people agree, some people disagree. Like, if you can't manage a $20,000 annual income, it will be
Mm-hmm.
hard to manage a $50,000, a $100,000 income. So just try and focus on like small, repeatable habits that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it may not feel like a lot in the moment, but as long as you're seeing that small progress, like that's what matters. So if you're only able to put $20 in a savings account per paycheck, that's a heck of a lot more than other people are doing with much more income. Some people are not even saving at all with six-figure salaries. So
Mm-hmm.
don't I know it's hard, especially with the cost of living, but if you feel as though you're not making enough, you're that's valid in that thinking, but try and focus more on like, okay, what are the fundamental things I can do right now with what I have so that when I do start making more, I'm set and I have those habits to carry me through. So
Mm,
saving a percentage of your income, that's one. Making sure you're not taking on any unnecessary additional expenses. Doing consistent audits of your spending, making sure you're staying on top of subscriptions and
mm.
lifestyle creep. Those are like the foundational things that you could be making $1 million tomorrow, and I still feel like it's important for you to have those habits.
Those habits. That's
Mhm,
very good.
mhm.
Awesome. You also on your Instagram, I believe, like you shared like a framework on how to identify money leaks in your cash
Yes.
flow.
Mhm.
Can you walk us through that framework and how it can help families or, anybody for that matter regain control of their finances? And what are some of the common money leaks that you see for individuals?
Yeah, so it's a pretty simple framework. It's 4 parts. The first thing is you're gonna wanna start with your income. Like, start with, sitting down and thinking through, like, "Where am I making my money?"
Mm-hmm.
Some people have a lot of, different avenues that they make money. Maybe they babysit or they create content or they sell artwork on the side. So I think it's really important to sit down and sort of see where is all your money coming from. Also look at your deductions, make sure that you're staying on top of that. A lot of us pay insurance as part of our income. So
Mm-hmm.
try and think through like, am I using my benefits? Am I not using my benefits? When it comes time for my benefits renewal again, do I want to drop down to a lower bucket? Is my income stable? Has it changed? What are the reasons for it changing? Are there opportunities for me to increase? So I think that's like what you can do as part of step number one. Then
Mm-hmm.
step number two is to categorize your spending, which is super important. I'm sure we hear about this all the time, but a lot of people overlook it. So you have your fixed expenses, which are essential and non-negotiable. So that's like rent, mortgage, insurance, childcare. Then you have your essential variable expenses, which are necessary but fluctuate. So your groceries, your internet, your phone, those ones are really important because you have control over those ones. So I always
Mm-hmm.
say, like, when I was meeting with clients and maybe they would complain about their cash flow, I would see that they're spending, I don't know, something really high on groceries. And I'm like, like, it's important to eat, for sure, but do you need maybe more, luxury ingredients all the time? Like, maybe it's time that you take it back to basics. Rice is very cheap. Things like potatoes are really cheap. So there's certain things in our, grocery carts that I'm sure that we
Yes.
can, um, substitute out if we're feeling like our groceries are too high. Same things
Mm-hmm.
with our phone bills, same things with our, personal care items, shopping at Shoppers, which can be a little bit more expensive versus shopping at Walmart, which is like one of
Yeah.
my big, big, big things is I never go to pharmacy stores for essentials. Always,
Mm.
always go to Walmart. That's just like one of the things I learned earlier on. And then the
Mm-hmm.
last bucket is wants versus lifestyle expenses, and those are the things that, like, you really don't need, but I will say, like, with a star that I do think it is important to indulge in those things sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You don't only wanna focus on essentials that are non-negotiable because life is so much more than just that. Like, life is more than just paying rent or paying for
Yeah.
daycare. I do think that there's, things you can set in place, like, once a month treating yourself or after you accomplish something, you treat yourself. It's all about balance. But I think
Yeah.
the most tricky area is those essential variable expenses that you feel are essential because they are to a certain point,
Yeah.
but you have control over to what extent. I think
To
that's
what
when
extent?
people
Yeah.
struggle with the most.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's so true. And I think that even for me,
Hmm.
I used to be a Shoppers Drug Mart kind of girl, but life comes at you really fast with two
Yeah.
kids. Then you go to Walmart
Yes.
to do your grocery shopping, and then the prices are much more interesting, and
Um,
there's a lot of variety. I learned from one of my best friends, and she is a doctor, and
mm,
I used to buy the medicine that I used to buy was like from brands. And then
yes.
she told me, she's like, you don't have to buy because of the brand. Like
Yeah.
even the generic one will still have the same effect. So
Yeah.
that is something that now, even now, when I buy stuff, it's like it's not the brand that I'm buying. It's really, is it effective and what is the cost, right? So
Totally agree.
there's a
That was a huge game changer for me as well.
yeah.
Step 3 is find the
Hmm.
leaks.
Hmm.
So do some self-reflection. What surprised me the most? This is after you've now categorized. Ask
Hmm.
yourself, what has surprised me the most? Maybe it is, oh, I'm spending a lot on brand name things when I can just go with the no name or the life
Hmm.
brand version. Where am I constantly overspending and by how much? That's a very important question. I know
Mm.
for me, when I'm feeling overwhelmed and stressed and I don't have time, ordering food is a huge pain point for me. I've said it on my page a lot too, like, and I still struggle with it. Um,
Hmm.
and I need to get better with that. So that's one that I struggle with.
Hmm.
Are there small expenses adding up? So those subscriptions, they seem so easy, but like,
Yeah.
$20 here, $10 here, that's already $30 a month that you're
Yeah.
spending on subscriptions. And then the last one is, did I have an unexpected one-time expense? Those are really, really good indicators because then you can either set an account aside for it. So for example, the windshield on our car got hit with a stone. So to replace it, you're not that doesn't happen too often, but then you're like, "Okay, should we set aside a car expense
Makes sense.
account?"
Yeah.
Right?
Hmm.
So for those one-off, incidences, take a look at what it is and think about whether or not it could happen frequently enough where you should set aside money for it, essentially.
Hmm.
And then the last thing is identify timing issues. This is so important, and I feel like people really, really overlook it. Whenever I'm building budgets for people, I always ask them to list their expenses, but also the due dates. Because if you don't properly time the due dates with your pay, you're always going to end up in a pickle. And a lot of people are very, heavy at the end of the month. Like the beginning of the month, everything's fine, so you may overspend, and then you get to the end of the month and it's just like chaos in your bank account. So you always want to check like when are bills due? Are there multiple big payments coming out on the same day
Hmm.
or the same week? Review your pay frequency. So if you're biweekly, make sure that your bills are sort of spread out evenly, and you can call bill companies and ask them to change the due date. It's not
Hmm.
always possible, but for most, you should be able to. And then, are you paying large irregular payments? I had a friend and I was helping with her budget, and she was paying her credit card in full every single month, which is great practice. Like,
Hmm.
totally commend her for that. But she didn't have the cash flow to be able to do that. So she was paying off her credit card in full because she wanted to have a great credit score. But in the same way, she was now messing up her cash flow, which now made her have to rely on her credit card
On her credit
again.
card.
So I said,
Yeah.
okay, it's great that you're paying your thing off in full. How about you go back to paying the minimum plus maybe $100 more? Do that until you're able to save up your emergency fund, and
Mm.
then go back to paying your credit card slowly and then like work your way up to full. And I
Hmm.
think that was a great option for her. So I think
Hmm.
the thing that people do a lot is they throw money onto their credit card because they want to see that balance go down, but then they're putting themselves in a situation where they now need to go back and use the credit card.
Yes.
So, that's a huge, like, red flag that I see, people
Mm-hmm.
get themselves into. So, yeah, that's the framework, and I think, once again, whether you're making $20,000 a year, 50,000, 100,000, I think these are, like, very, very easy steps that you can follow to kinda get yourself back on track.
Mm-hmm. And what I hear is really is just like habits, have healthy habits
Yeah,
throughout.
exactly.
Um, and so in terms of budget, like how often do you recommend folks to like kind of look at the budget? Like, do you think weekly or monthly? Like, how do you work it out with your clients?
Yeah, honestly, I say the minimum should be monthly. Like,
Okay.
month over month, there should not be too much change in your
Mm,
lifestyle that a month, like once a month, shouldn't be enough. If you
hmm.
really want to be on top of it, I would say plan for every paycheck in advance. So if you're
Okay.
biweekly, you can maybe do it the weekend before you're about to get paid. Semi-monthly, same thing. Um,
Hmm.
but definitely at the very least once a month. Anything longer than that, I think you're really risking, missing some things.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then since we're kind of like talking about cash flow, like, how, like talking about like that example that you gave,
Mhm,
um, how, ma because managing cash flow can be overwhelming.
mhm,
Because like for instance, like you really want to make sure that you have a good credit score because like you have other projects that you want to see come through. So
mhm.
what are some practical steps to improve cash flow without adding those layers of stress? And then like, do you have any sort of recommendations in terms of tools or apps to use that would be helpful?
Yeah, so definitely a payday routine. Like,
Okay.
the same way you have a routine to wake up in the morning and go to bed, and if you like to work out, you have a routine with that, like, make
Hmm.
sure you have a payday routine because I think one of the most frustrating things is getting a paycheck and then you don't know where the money went after, like, a week has gone by. So automate is the easiest thing that you can do for yourself, especially when it comes to savings and investing. Like I said in the beginning, like, people don't play around when it comes to bills, rent, things like that, but when it comes to savings, they're like, "Oh, I'll do it next month," or "I'll do it
Hmm.
next time," or whatever. But if you automate your savings, something small like 5, 10%, it will do, like, such a world of wonders, and when you automate it, you don't have time to make excuses to not do it. Like,
Yeah.
if you set that automation for the day you get paid, it will come
Hmm.
out before you even have time to think about it. So I think
Mm.
that incorporating that into your payday routine is a huge game changer. Another one I would say is having separate accounts. Like, I can't like, that's, like, something I will shout on the top of any mountain, like, you should not be mixing your expenses with your spending money. Always have at least 2 accounts, one where your money comes in, and then one where you pay bills out of.
Hmm.
Any other accounts, that you use for, like, different savings goals or whatever, like, that's great, but as a very, very beginning step, definitely have spending account and bill account. Um
Hmm.
and then also make it so that you can build your routine around your lifestyle. Like, it doesn't have to don't let the budget dictate to you what you do. The budget is still something you can control. So, for example, for me,
Right.
I have a child now. I can change my budget now so that I'm spending less on clothes for myself. And maybe the theme of my budget this year is finding ways to pour into my son, whether that's
Hmm.
setting aside a little bit for his education fund, setting aside money for us to be able to do activities at museums and parks and whatever. But just like don't think that the budget is set. Like, you always have that
Hmm.
flexibility to morph it into what you need it to be, depending on where you are in your life. And then for tools, I'm actually gonna say I don't really like those budgeting tools, like those
Okay.
apps. I don't
Yeah.
like them. Um, if I'm lucky or fortunate in the future, I will have like the opportunity to make my own tool that
Please.
because I've seen a lot and used a lot that I just don't like. But one
Hmm.
thing that I will say, and it kind of I've kind of already mentioned it, something with automation. So for
Hmm.
me, Well Simple has really, really cool automation tools where one, it can just take it from your paycheck and invest it for you through the
Hmm.
advisor. Or they have this option where it will round up your transactions. So let's say something is like $10 or $10.80. That remaining 20 cents that would take to make it $11, it will take that and then put it in an account for you.
Wow.
Called Roundup, I think.
Hmm.
And it may not seem like a lot, but you'd be surprised if you're somebody that uses their card quite frequently. It's a really, really
Yes.
good savings tool. So
Hmm.
definitely check out Wealthsimple. They're not paying me, but I am a huge fan of that platform and the business and how they're making investing so accessible to everybody. So definitely
Yeah.
check them out. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And same, I'm a huge fan of Wealthsimple and then the automation that comes with they take the money and whatever you want to save or invest, then that's really awesome and makes life easier in that sense because I do feel sometimes like all I want is like, can you just take that money and then just invest it. I
Right.
just want to see a dividend at some point, but thank you very much. And I,
Yeah.
I love that. And yes, I'm a huge fan. And no, they're not paying me either. Although,
Yeah. One day. One
one day.
day.
Um, you did mention motherhood, and I think that's the beauty about Spotlight this year because I feel like a lot of the women that I've seen through the Women of Diversity, like I think a lot of them are getting into that chapter, whether of motherhood or whether of thinking of motherhood. So
Mm,
um, how has that been for you in terms of that transition, that financial transition from going from being, with your now husband, just the two of you, just
mm.
managing your finances, to having a little bundle of joy, very expensive, like
Yeah.
very, very expensive, and then thinking about his future. Like, how has that transition been for you, and what are some of the changes that you've had to make sure that your budget was still reasonable for your family, but also making sure that you have a little bit of self-care for yourself, but also making sure that his future is taken care of.
Yeah. I have to say I don't have it fully figured out.
Mm-hmm.
He's only been with us for like a year, not even a year and a half yet. I
Mm-hmm.
just went back to work less than a year ago. So I this is the most like financially insecure I've
Mm-hmm.
been in a very long time. Um and I have to actually take my own advice. Like, I have to get back to the basics. Um, now that I'm making my full salary again, like, how do I get out of, um, uh, I was in this mode where when I was on mat leave, I wasn't spending on myself, like,
Mm-hmm.
barely, because A, I wasn't going anywhere. B, my income had dropped significantly, and all I was focused on was, like, baby expenses. My son
Mm-hmm.
was drinking formula that was very expensive at the time because of a milk intolerance. They grow so quickly, so his clothing was very, like, short-lived. Um, and now that I'm making my full salary, again, it's like, okay, I enjoy spending on my son. How can I reel that back so that
Yes.
I can enjoy things again, like, you know, indulging in a dinner with my friends or
Yes.
um, a date night, like with my husband or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. Um, I don't know. I think it's
Yeah.
really just about going back to the basics, like how much are we making again now? What are our priorities? So, I mean,
Hmm.
my son is only one and a half. He has about like 17 years until he goes to school.
The school.
And RESP obviously was
Hmm.
is at the top of my mind. When he was born, and when your child is born, you can get their SIN number
Yeah.
right when you're even registering them as a person.
Hmm.
So I did all of that at the same time, and he has an RESP. I didn't go too aggressive with the contributions, A, because my finances were in shambles, but
Hmm.
also we have a lot of time. And
Exactly. Hmm.
I'm gonna give myself grace that although I would love to max out all the limits on the RESP and dump money into it, like there's still other stuff to take care of.
Absolutely.
So I'm putting in small amounts, but I'm investing it, which is like
Hmm.
a key point there. So his
Yes.
education for sure. Um, a savings account for him as well. The
Hmm.
uncles and aunties have given him money since he was born, and we park it in a little account for him.
Hmm.
So that's all for him. But then for me and my self-care, I'm struggling with that. I don't
Hmm.
know if I'm doing a great job of prioritizing myself because I'm a wife and I'm a mom now and a homeowner, and it just seems like things just keep coming up that are not solely for me. Um,
Hmm.
so I have to kind of rediscover that. But
Yes.
yeah, it's just carving out a budget
Absolutely.
for that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then you used a very key word, I think, is to give yourself grace.
hmm
From what you had just said in like the last few like couple of minutes ago, it's a lot of transitions. So from a mother to another, give yourself grace, some grace, and then everything will eventually work out. And also something else you said that is powerful is that he has time. So
Yeah.
you all have time to contribute and to like to his future. So at the
hmm
end of the day, like, grace, and then you're already doing the right thing. You're doing a great job, mom.
Thank you. Thank you. And
You're
one thing I
doing a
want to
great
put
job.
out there is that, like, he doesn't need much. Like,
Mm-mm.
people think that you need to buy him or buy your child, like, all these toys and whatever. We live in a condo, like a pretty
Yes.
small condo because we bought it when it was just us. And we
Hmm.
don't have a lot of toys. We don't have the space for all these toys. And he's just happy, you know, uh, ripping paper.
Yes.
Yesterday, I had tinfoil. He had a ball, like, just playing with tinfoil.
Yeah.
So I'm also learning too that I don't have to feel bad that I don't have the bandwidth to spend a ton of
Hmm.
money on him on, like, a bunch of material things. Clothing, yes. Food, yes.
Yes.
But o outside of that, like, he really doesn't need much right now. He's happy climbing on the couch and
Yes.
playing with random household items. So, I
Hmm.
think, again, like, social media really makes you feel like you need all these things, and if you're not buying them this toy and, like, a
Yes.
ball pit and those cars that they can sit in and move around, like, it just makes you feel worse than you actually need to. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's, like, another
Yeah.
takeaway I would say.
And kids have like such a short attention span that you're going to buy them a car. And I speak from experience with my son. You buy them a car, and for 2 minutes they play with it, and then they're back on the grass.
Yeah.
Something that I've learned, and that is something that I'm pushing also with like family and friends. And it's always like, instead of buying them toys for their birthday or Christmas, how about like putting it into experiences? So like
Uh,
we're really big into traveling. So
yeah.
it's like, okay, so instead of putting that money into a toy that they are not going to play with for more than two
Mm,
days, it's probably
mhm.
best to just put it into like, okay, contribute for the flight tickets or
Yep.
something, or like just going to, I don't, the aquarium, for instance.
Yes,
So those
exactly.
are the things. Yeah. So, oh, I totally get you. So I totally understand. And then it's just fascinating, that first baby. You just really want to give them
Yeah,
everything, and then you realize that actually it's been sitting there in my closet. So
yeah,
yeah, I totally understand that.
yeah.
Um, you also talked about the 75 soft challenge, which is
Mhm.
about building sustainable habits. And I really like that. So, how has this challenge influenced your approach to money management and mindset?
Yeah, so it was tough. It was tough because it really forced me to try and focus on, sustainable habits, right?
Hmm.
Like, we all, for the most part, are aware of, like, the 75 hard fitness challenge that
Yes.
people do, and I was not going to do that one, but I said, "Okay, how can I spin it that it's like a money thing and it's challenging and whatnot?" So, it taught me a lot about the small daily habits. Like, one of them was, just look at what you spent for the day. Like, that was a very good exercise because it made me realize, "Oh, wow, like, I didn't spend today.
Hmm.
That's great. What made me not spend today, and how do I keep doing that?" Or,
Hmm.
"Wow, girl, you really spent a lot on Uber Eats this week. How can
Hmm.
we, d do better groceries so that you can cook and let go of that?" So, small daily habits and check-ins, like, they really do lead to, like, long-term shifts. Also, I now prioritize, like, financial routines that feel more realistic.
Hmm.
Sometimes you'll go on Instagram or YouTube or whatever and see these people doing these, like, really, like, drawn out routines and highlighters and, like, these fancy
Yes.
notebooks and whatever, and iPads, like, you don't need that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't need anything outside of what I already had, to
Hmm.
do these things, so just keep it simple and keep it realistic, and then also, like, it taught me grace. Because
Mm.
I didn't do it every day. There were some days where it was really busy, and then I missed a day, and I'm pretty hard on myself when it comes to stuff like that, but for
Hmm.
75 days, like, that's a pretty long time.
Yes.
I was able to, and because I put it out there too, like, sometimes people would be like, "Oh, like, how's the challenge going?" Or I would post little, like, updates, and I would
Hmm.
be real with myself that, like, "Okay, yeah, you may have missed a day or 2 because of whatever reason, but what's more important is that, like, you're doing it, um, you're coming back and you're able to get back onto it. So,
Yeah.
it's all about just, like, not depriving yourself, giving yourself grace, building those small little habits and check-ins, and it
Hmm.
just doesn't have to feel so painful all the time. Same way
Hmm.
you would go to the gym, right? Like, the gym
Yeah.
and money management, they're so alike in so many ways. I'm somebody that does not love the gym, but as somebody that doesn't love the gym but knows they have to be fit, like, you look for exercises that are simple and you can do them
Yes.
in your house or you can just walk.
Hmm.
So take that same approach and put it towards money, and it's the same thing. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Um, Two last questions. The first
Mhm.
one that I have for you is you emphasize the importance of financial confidence.
Mm,
How do you celebrate financial progress, big or small? Because I also believe that it's important to,
mm.
at least for me, to see that when you're making progress, that I deserve a treat.
Yep.
So so how do you
Mhm.
celebrate financial progress? And then what do you recommend in terms of like, how to celebrate?
Yeah, I totally do the treat. For me, um, I haven't felt a lot of financial progress right now
Hmm.
because, again, I'm recovering from the year
Life
that,
changes.
well, it wasn't a full year, 9 months of
Hmm.
significantly lower income. So I still have my own personal finance goals that I need to achieve before I even
For
kind
sure.
of think about celebrating in that way. But
Hmm.
but actually, I do feel as though I've been kind to myself in the sense that, um, it's not even just finances, like, if something at work happens, I've been working on a project for a while and finally I get done with it, I will allow myself to go, buy a coffee or
Yes.
browse the mall, even if I walk out with nothing, at
Mm-hmm.
least opening my mind up to that kind of reward system again,
Mm-hmm.
but putting, like, guardrails around it. So, I
Mm-hmm.
definitely think treating yourself is absolutely the best way you can build that financial confidence, but also I think, like, again, like, self-care is more than just taking a bath or going to
Mm-hmm.
the spa, like, doing a whole and I love these kind of videos, like these Sunday reset videos where,
Yeah.
you clean the house and you maybe meal prep, but then also in that Sunday refresh, you take a look at your spending last week, and then you look forward to next week and see, like, what things are coming up and what do you have to have on your radar. So that's
Mm-hmm.
part of building financial confidence because you can step into the new week being like, all right, like I feel great and not
Mm-hmm.
so like, oh, I don't know where my money went. So I'm just gonna pretend like it doesn't exist. I also feel like sharing your progress, whether you have like a public platform on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, or having a group chat with your friends that you trust and you let them know things that went on. I have a really close friend circle, of, like, 3 other ladies that I've known since I was in university, and
Mm-hmm.
we have talks, open talks about money and when money's not doing so great and then when money is doing really, really good. So, if you can find that, like, group, I think that's, like,
Mm-hmm.
amazing for sharing, like, your money wins. And then just, like, finding a community, again, whether you're very active in the community or you're more of, like, a watcher, but I think there's so many accounts on social media that can, like, really give you some solid gems and let you
Mm-hmm.
know that you're not alone in some of these financial struggles that we're going through. Because I just really think like social media is great, but man, has it like really shifted our
Yeah.
views on things. So yeah, just surround yourself with good people that you
Yes.
can trust. But don't forget to treat yourself because it's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think yes, community. I think that's a word that comes back quite a bit. It's like,
Hmm.
let's go back to the old fashioned Google. Someone said that to me yesterday, and I was like, okay, I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the old fashioned Google instead of relying a lot on social media, because I think that there's so many uh, variety of content
Yeah.
and all. And I think that to your point, sometimes it's like finding that circle and be comfortable with that circle if you guys have those like strong relationships to share your wins, or also like share the not so great wins, so that they could be an opportunity there for lessons and much more. So that's a great tip that even myself I want to
Yeah.
apply even more so, because I feel like finances can be very taboo in our community. We tend to
Yeah.
be very guarded with that, and we don't want to talk and much more. And I think just talking about it could be also eye-opening, right? Because
Yeah.
that's when tips can come in, and then like we get better at doing certain things. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Um, and so for those who really feel stuck or overwhelmed by the finances, like now,
Mhm.
what what's the first actionable step, or any actually other actionable steps that we may not have we didn't probably talk about, that you think we can do to start moving forward toward financial empowerment? Do you recommend any sort of books, podcasts besides community, or yeah?
Yeah, I would recommend first of all, if you haven't already, literally just sit down with yourself and like
Mhm.
face it. Like I know again when I was going through my whole mat leave situation, there were times where I just avoided even looking at my apps
Mhm.
because I just felt sad, I felt frustrated. Um, but I think like you just need to have that day. Sundays are pretty good days where you just open your laptop, you open your online banking, and you just like face the music and say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I actually am in I don't want to say a bad situation, but there's room for improvement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once you're just like real with yourself and face the numbers and actually do the math, like see like how much of a deficit you are in, how much debt you actually have, how much savings you really have, it makes it a little bit more real. And then you can now move to the next step, which is finding help, which is,
Mm-hmm.
you know, booking time with a coach or a financial advisor that you trust, or doing it on your own and seeking resources for you to do it or talking to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the most important thing. Just face it.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is also like mindset. Like I said, this is the most financially insecure period I've ever had in my life. And this is even coming from somebody that like I've been in this industry like my whole life. I know
Yeah.
what to do. Um, but it doesn't change the fact that like it's still an emotional thing. So be kind to yourself, give yourself grace, because like everybody goes through it. Even the most wealthy people have gotten to like a bottom scenario
Yeah.
before and worked themselves back up. In
Yeah.
terms of resources, honestly, it goes beyond the books. I personally read finance books just to kind of like stay on top of things and like hear different perspectives that are published. But honestly, like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, just be very, very careful about what you're consuming. Like anything that
Mm-hmm.
sounds too good to be true, get rich quick and things like that. Like I don't even pay those any attention. But what I've really come to like appreciate are creators that are taking you on the journey with them, because you're able to see like what they're going through, resonate with them, see how maybe
Mm-hmm.
they were able to tackle something. Um, I need to get better at being more consistent online, but I think like now that I've had my son, we've bought our condo, we've gotten married. I'm I'm going through so much that I feel like there's no one that couldn't resonate with what I'm going through.
Yeah.
So, you know, when things become a little bit more stable in my life, I do plan to share a lot more, but just seeking somebody that looks like you or talks like
Mm-hmm.
you or has an experience that resonates with you, that's like oftentimes like the best teacher. So if
Yeah.
books are a little bit dry to you, don't feel like you have to go to the bookstore and buy all these finance books. Honestly, as much as I dislike social media for portraying a certain lifestyle, I also think it's a great tool. You just have to be have a lot of discernment and pick the
Mm-hmm.
right accounts to follow. So, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're
This
so
is really,
welcome.
really good. I have
Good.
so many other questions, but I feel like we're pressed for time. But
I can
this
always
was
come
very,
back.
yes, always. And then like hopefully we have more of these in person when, everything is settled on your end. And also here we can hopefully we have a meetup in Toronto again. So we can have those conversations because I find them very, very helpful, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I agree.
So, would you plan to continue coaching folks at some point, like, or at some, yeah.
Yeah, I want to do it in a different way. I mean, I
Okay.
still think people find comfort in having like one-on-one
Yes.
discussion. I tried the
Mm-hmm.
group thing and it was okay, but I think most of the feedback I got is that people would rather have that one-to-one. So I do
Mm-hmm.
want to bring that back again once I'm able to just figure things out on
Mm-hmm.
scheduling wise on my end. And then also I do want to make a return back to social media and just like walk through a lot of the stuff that just people are not talking about. Like, I can't say it enough. You touched on it. When it comes to mat leave,
Yeah.
it's a different world. Like,
Yeah.
Canada is great. We get a year to a year and a half, but the financial piece is like, you're not ready for
No.
it. You are not ready. It's complicated to navigate. There's top up, there's A lot of stuff.
Yes.
So, yeah, I just wanna teach through sharing, but also provide the one-on-one support, as needed. So, it's coming, please
Yes.
forgive me. It's just life quite chaotic.
Hmm.
A lot of things are happening that I'm not sharing right now because we just need to get through it. But I
Absolutely.
promise I will share and bring everybody along the journey and hopefully learn through me. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Tembeka, for taking the time to talk to us today and then sharing so much your journey,
Mm,
being so transparent about your journey. And I can only offer you grace
thank
and positivity your end.
you.
Where can people find you on Instagram when
Yeah.
now, but even when you come back
Yeah,
fully?
so it's always at she's, SHES dot
Hmm.
Richer,
Hmm.
RICHER. So that's my main platform. I have not dabbled quite into the YouTube. I have a little bit of content on TikTok, but honestly, my main platform
Instagram.
is Instagram. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's it, guys. That's another episode of Spotlight, and we'll see you next time. Thank you again, Tamika, and then enjoy the rest of your day.